If you are skipping out on your upper body training, then you are missing out on a key component of your fitness. And if you're anybody that's new to strength training, then you probably have seen that there are a ton of exercises out there to choose from. Well, in today's video, I wanted to clarify that up, and I'm gonna go over 4 of the best dumbbell exercises that you could be doing to help improve your upper body strength. Let's get started. Welcome back, guys. It's Dr. Mike, and I'm a physical therapist providing tips on how to build strength and longevity with your body. Now, when it comes to upper body strength, you really don't have to do a lot of exercises to see the benefits of building strength in your upper body. You probably have seen there are so many exercises out there to train your shoulders, to train your chest, but there are 4 exercises that are the most effective that you need to be including in your home program. Today, we're gonna go over each of those 4 exercises. But most importantly, coming from a physical therapist standpoint, we're gonna make sure that you're performing those correctly, because we often see this done incorrectly. So the first exercise we're gonna go over, which has major benefits, is the bicep curl. Now, some of you may look at me and say, well, this is not a bodybuilding movement, and why should we all be doing bicep curls? Well, bicep curls is extremely important for building optimal core strength, as well as optimal strength in the bicep. And we use our bicep primarily to do a lot of pulling. So when we're picking things up off the ground, we're pulling something from above, we use a lot of our arm strength, and that's coming from the bicep. So the bicep curl can be an easy way that you can implement a strength exercise to help improve the strength in your upper arm, okay? So when you perform this, you're gonna start off with a supinated grip. So that means that your palm is going to be facing up, and you're gonna start off with the elbow extended. The reason why we have that elbow extended is now we have a good stretch on the bicep, and we can train that muscle through full range of motion. So what you're gonna do, right now I have about 30 pounds here. You can start off anywhere between 5 to 10 pounds and seeing what those repetitions feel like, ensuring that you're moving through full range of motion. Now you're gonna use the bicep muscle, and you're gonna bring that dumbbell all the way up, feel a nice good contraction at the top there, and then you're gonna lower down slowly. The key piece with this exercise when you're doing this is you wanna make sure that you keep that elbow fixated at your side, and you're not doing a whole lot of this swinging where your elbow is starting to kind of move in front of your body or even moving behind your body, because now you can see that my shoulder is being compromised and I'm getting a lot of stress on the front of the shoulder there. So I really like to be strict with this technique. And I'm obviously showing you this with 1 dumbbell, but you can use this with 2 dumbbells to make it even harder. I like to use the 1 dumbbell because it allows me to isolate and focus on one side at a time. But you're gonna feel a nice good stretch at the bottom, and then you're gonna bring your arm up, trying to come as high as you can until you feel a good squeeze at the top of the bicep there, and then you're gonna lower down slowly. And when you're working on these exercises, you can perform 3 to 4 sets, anywhere between 10 to 12 repetitions. And those 10 to 12 repetitions should be challenging. It should actually be difficult to really get that full range of motion at the very top. But most importantly, you wanna show nice, good control on the way down. Now, the next exercise I wanna get into is the shoulder press. And this is where I love to use dumbbells, because it really challenges your shoulder stability and your core stability. So it will require you to work a little bit harder. Now, when you're starting off with this movement, notice that if I have the dumbbells in front of me, my thumbs are actually facing towards me. Also notice that when people do this exercise, sometimes you'll see these elbows kind of flared out to the side, and the dumbbells are kind of on the side of my shoulders here. What I want us to do is I want us to focus on finding that in-between area. So that's kind of in this, we call this scapular plane here. And this is going to allow your core muscles, specifically the scapular muscles, to really help you with pushing that weight overhead. So you'll start in this position, and then you're really tighten up your abdominals so you get set here, and then you're gonna press all the way overhead, trying to get a full lockout at the top, and you're straightening that elbow, okay? Once again, the weight is gonna start at the bottom, okay? You're gonna tighten your core muscles, and then you're gonna really lift all the way at the top, trying to get those elbows as straight as possible, really straighten out those arms just like that. And then you're gonna lower down nice and slowly. And I really wanna make sure that I keep my chin slightly tucked and I'm not getting into this kind of poor posture where I'm extending my neck in front of me. Notice I'm pressing overhead, trying to keep my rib cage down and then coming back just like so. And I've talked about this in a few of my other videos. If you haven't checked it out, how to do a proper shoulder press. I go over in extreme detail on what kind of positioning with your hands, how your arms should be moving in space when you're doing this. But I also talk about rib cage flaring, and that's one of the major kind of compensations that we see when we're pressing overhead. We start to press something heavy and it gets challenging. And the first part that happens to our posture is we kind of extend our lower back and we start pressing and really compensating by cheating and removing your core muscles from performing the exercise. The key is really staying tight and trying to maintain good alignment of your trunk and your spine as you're pressing overhead, just like so. So now that we've gone over a few exercises to really help build strength in the shoulders and the arms, we're now gonna focus on some of our strength in the back muscles here. We're gonna go over the dumbbell row because I think this is a staple foundational exercise that you need to know how to do properly, especially with use when it comes to dumbbells. Now, the reason why I love doing this exercise with one dumbbell, because it allows me to isolate one arm at a time. And usually, as we get older, we tend to find that we have imbalances between the shoulders, and doing one arm at a time can really help balance out those imbalances. So here I'm gonna be standing over the dumbbell here, and notice that I like to kind of use that opposite arm to kind of just rest on my leg in the front there. If you have the luxury of kind of leaning on a bench or leaning on something sturdy to do this, you can also kind of hold on by working in this fashion. But for those of you who don't have any bench or anything to grab onto, you could simply do this exercise just kind of leaning over your entire leg here, okay? The important part of this exercise, just with any exercise that we teach you, is working through full range of motion. So what that means is normally you'll see people do a dumbbell row and they just kind of work on just kind of going through, bending their elbow, and they're just working through, it almost looks like a bicep curl, an arm movement. But really we want to focus on getting a nice good stretch through the lats, feeling a nice stretch, and really focus on almost like I'm turning on a lawnmower and I'm really pulling and trying to retract and pull my shoulder blade back as I do this. So I'll start with my dumbbell kind of in this hanging position. I already kind of feel a good stretch on the lat here. Also, I want to point out my position with my stance. I'm kind of in a staggered stance. So I'm not just straight over the dumbbell. I'm kind of in a staggered stance, almost in this diagonal fashion, so I can set myself up properly over the dumbbell and get some of this rotational movement going towards the dumbbell, okay? So then I'm gonna use my elbow to pull it back, really not shrug, but almost pull my shoulder blades back so I feel a nice good contraction of my upper back and my lats, and then I'm lowering back down, okay? I don't wanna rotate too much with my spine, but really I wanna focus on getting that movement in the upper back and really focus on feeling that nice good contraction as I'm pulling that wrist right by my body, kind of keeping it nice and tight. We don't wanna just pull the dumbbell out to the side and kind of lose our technique. We really wanna make sure we go nice and slow, nice and controlled, feel a stretch at the very bottom, and then pull that dumbbell all the way back. And if you really wanna challenge yourselves, you can focus on getting some nice holds at the very top and then slowly lowering down just like that. All right, the last movement that we're gonna work on is going to focus on your chest as well as your triceps, and this is a typical dumbbell floor press. And the reason why this can be very beneficial and helpful, especially for beginners, is that this requires you to move your shoulder and your elbow through less range of motion. Rather than a bench that allows your shoulders to really go past your body, the floor is kind of stopping your elbow and kind of saving your shoulders, especially if you're someone dealing with any shoulder injuries. This can be a great way to help improve your chest strength using the floor press. So you'll start with the dumbbells kind of extended out in front of you. And I'm not too much of a fan of keeping them in this horizontal position, kind of like a dumbbell. It feels for me more natural to kind of turn them slightly inward like this. I'm gonna lower my elbows down slowly towards the ground, and using the dumbbells, it's gonna feel very unstable because you're having to use your own shoulder stabilizer muscles as well as your core muscles to lower it down. You can pause there at the bottom, and then you're gonna press up at the top. Also notice with my feet, I'm not keeping my feet extended. I'm in this kind of hook line position because now my feet are down and supported on the ground, and I can really use my core muscles as I'm lowering the weight down and pressing at the top. One of the biggest mistakes people make with this exercise is they'll kind of go at the top and they won't fully extend their elbow. So they kind of just work on this partial range of motion. But when we're working together, we really want to focus on extending that elbow, getting a good contraction of those triceps, and really pushing those dumbbells up towards the ceiling and then lowering back down. So full range of motion is key with these exercises, just like we've talked about in the previous one, 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 12 repetitions at a time. Now there you have it. Those are my best dumbbell exercises that you can be incorporating to help improve your overall upper body strength. If you want more information on how to improve your strength and longevity with your body, or maybe you want some more videos on how to improve your strength using dumbbells or kettlebells, check out the rest of the videos here on my channel. In the meantime, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.